on today's Success and Excuses podcast, we have Gavin Kirkwood. Gavin, welcome to Success and Excuses podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No problem. Listen, who is Gavin? He's a wee bit of background about the business, about who you are, and then we're going to dive.
Yeah, certainly. So, Gavin is Gavin Kirkwood, 38, born, bred Glasgow. Business is Kirkwood Asset Finance. Been trading for 2.5 years now. Mm-hmm. We are asset finance specialists, but specifically within fleet. So we help businesses, whether it be yourself looking for one car, one van, all the way up to our biggest client. We just put in £10 million facility for them to fund 500 cars.
Wow.
So we can do the sourcing, we can do the supplying, or we can do just the finance. But ultimately, our main goal is just to help our customers save money on the interest rates.
What makes you different?
Customer service. We work with a panel of 240, 250 funders, so we've got access to all the big names in the industry. But the key thing about us, it's what you get from us. Mm-hmm. We will not stop until we get the right result for you. And that's always about grit, determination. Just like we had a wee chat before.
Yeah.
It's about digging deep and getting you the best opportunity or the best result for that client.
Yeah. And every client's different.
Every client's
financial background, and particularly, when it's business to business, there's a lot of things a lot of boxes that's got to be ticked to get finance in a business, and it can be a tough gig.
You can imagine the amount of hoops you need to jump through.
I can.
So sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes the client's nice and solid, nice and secure. It's an auto approval within minutes, and it's nice and simple. Docs out, paperwork signed, finance paid out. There's other scenarios where there might be a bit more of a group structure that needs explaining. There might be some bad debt from a past business or a previous director, or it could just be we need more information. It's very vague on this or this part. Can we explain this and more? So yeah, every deal's different. Every business is different. The good thing about what we do is we could be in with an electrician one day, but in with one of the biggest leasing companies the next. We're in with a small baker the next day. And then we're in with one of the biggest telecommunications companies the next day. So it's a real mixed bag. Lots of different experiences in terms of how companies run and what they do and how they do things. And I think the biggest thing for us is always the why do you do it this way? Well, because we've always done it that way. But just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean it's the right way. So that's the conversation we have on a daily basis. And it's a lot of the time it's about education. People don't know that there's other options there. They don't know that there is other ways to do things that are actually better for.
Because generally what happens with a business is they go to the bank that they bank with, and normally they are no interested at all in helping them in any way, shape or form. I mean, we've been to the same bank since we started our business, so 8.5 years ago, and we've never had anything from them.
Yep.
Like never.
Yep.
Like I actually had a conversation with him. He's like, now we're hitting, we hit the million. No, you need to hit 2 million. Or 1.5 million. Are we getting an account manager? No, you need to hit the 2 million. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. What's going on here? So banks are tough gigs, aren't they?
Yeah, and some of the decisions banks make sometimes as well. Like one bank does one thing, another bank does another thing, another bank does another thing. You would think it would be uniformed across the board, but it's not. Everybody's got their own set of terms, their own set of restrictions, their own set. We'll do this, we'll do that. We won't do this, we won't do that.
But do you have? This is the thing I always think about when I talk about the asset finance. You must have companies, right? That so that you like and that you trust.
Yep.
And you kind of know the threshold, so you can literally. I could come to you and have a quick conversation. You could probably within half an hour of chatting to me about my business and the financial side, without seeing the numbers, you could probably say, I know the company. Yep. I know where we need to go with you. Is that a fair?
100%. Yeah. So you can tell pretty much there's what we call tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 funders. Yep. Tier 1s are your main
the big boys.
Banks. Yeah. So the rates are cheap, but the restrictions are tough. They're very strict on their underwriting. Tier 2 are a wee bit more relaxed to an extent.
Is tier 2 like the funding circle and things like that? Is that tier 2?
No. So I would say tier 2 is maybe people like Paragon Bank, for example.
Right, okay.
So they maybe just stretch into tier 1 and sometimes, but then they kind of always sit in that tier 2. They're a bit more relaxed, but they're a lot more proactive, should I say. They want to write business quicker. And then tier 3s are the ones where there's a wee bit of a story maybe, so you need to explain it a bit more. It's not a straight yes. You need to explain this and that. So
Or a straight no.
Or a straight no.
They want to know the story behind it.
That's the frustrating thing in this industry. See if you get a straight no quickly, you don't mind, because then you can move on.
Yeah.
It's when it drags on with one of these big tier 1 banks, for example, for a week, and you're sitting there.
That's if you're lucky.
Aye.
I remember just no recently HSBC, who I'm actually thinking of moving my bank to. I won't get any details, but it was like 4 weeks later, and I pulled it.
Aye.
Like 4 weeks. So they made us an offer to kind of borrow and grow the business, and they made us an offer. And I was kind of looking at the offer and I thought, that's pretty good. That's good rates, really, really good rates. I thought, okay, because that means I can pull off this and I can do that and I can basically cut down my expenditure. I thought, that's a good deal, that. So I went ahead with the finance on it, and I think we were in the 4th week, back and forward, details. I mean, and our company's really healthy.
Yep.
I mean, we've got a really, really healthy cash flow in the business. And 4 weeks later, and I end up pulling it. Because I thought to myself, it was almost like they'd all these different divisions, right? It was one of the, is it called the growth fund or something?
Growth guarantee.
Aye. So was that? I thought, why did I do that?
Yep.
And it took so long. I get fed up because they were asking for the same things over and over and over. And I thought, I gave you that 2 weeks ago. I bet you gave it to another part of the company. Well, ask them for information. I'm trying to run a business here.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit and fill out forms for you for every part division. And I end up pulling it.
Well, you don't mind. See if you get a rejection quickly.
Yeah.
It's much better because one, you can keep the client informed. 2, you can move on to getting the result that you want. It's when it drags on for a week that it's a nightmare, because you're getting your hopes up, thinking,
this
no
is
news
gonna
is
be
good
all right.
news.
Yeah.
They must be doing it, but and sometimes I find the downside with the big banks is the rates are cheap, but because their rates are cheap, they get an influx. Everybody uses them, so therefore the SLA times just skyrocket.
Yeah.
Whereas the rate might be 0.5% of a difference, so it's negligible unless it's a huge deal. So it makes sense to go to one of the other funders where you can get a decision same day. And we have some funders we work with where we could prop it in the morning, it could be approved in the afternoon, we could have paperwork and documents signed, and that afternoon paid
And the
out.
money's released.
Aye.
Wow.
And that's what you want. If only, I won't name names, but if a few of the bigger banks did that, they would be raking it in. It would be, but you kind of get both, unfortunately. You either get quick or you get cheap. You don't get both. Yeah. So there is occasions, don't get me wrong, listen, there is occasions where some of the big boys can be really quick.
Yeah.
And there's occasions where some of the other ones are really slow as well. But it's, as a rule of thumb,
But you know though, you kind of know.
Yeah.
If I go here, this is what I'm going to expect. If I go there, so you as I said, we talked about it a minute ago. You in your head, you're sitting with the customer and client. You're listening to their story. You're listening to their needs, and you're going, I know where I need to go. I know where I'm taking you to.
Yep.
Where you can almost, I'm not going to say ever guarantee, but you know that this is the right place.
So
for this particular
there's two key things, right? There's the client, and then there's the actual opportunity itself. So we can sit with the client and we know straight away, right, this is a tier 1 or a tier 2 client. We know it's going to approve, so no issues. But ultimately, it's down to the opportunity. Because what you'll find, clients tend to have a conversation early. They then sit in their hands for a wee bit. And then they come to you on a Thursday and go, we need this paid out by Friday. So you're then in a situation where you're going, right, well, you are a tier 1, but I can tell you right now, this isn't going to get paid out tomorrow. So if you want this paid out tomorrow, we need to go here, which means that the rate's now going to be this versus that. So it's always a conversation of around what's more important to you. Do you want to wait and push back your deadline till next week and get tier 1 rates? Or do you want to get it paid out tomorrow and we know we need to push it here to do that? So, but if we get a sensible client, which there's lots of, where you can sit down at the beginning of the month and they go, right, here's the structure, here's what we've got planned, right to a T. We know we can put the funding in place early, it gets drawn out, everything's good to go. But in the real world, it doesn't happen like that all the time. In the real world, it's, Gav, I need it done today. Right, okay, well.
That's the nature of business, isn't it? So I want to go back now, Gavin. I want to go back. So how did you get into it? How did you manage to...
Long story short, I worked in call centres pretty much since I left school. Built up a kind of sales background, did really well.
It's a massive thing to have in it in your back pocket, where you're not scared to lift up that phone.
Exactly that. and you keep hearing these days that cold calling's dead. It's not.
I agree with you. I don't think it's dead either.
Not in a month of Sundays. Most of my business still comes from cold calling. But yeah, so I started off in call centres selling various different things, and then I found my way working for Northgate Vehicle Hire. So I found myself, that was what, 2012, 2013ish, I think. Did that for 3 and a bit years really well. Number 1 in the country, a couple of years running, and done really well for myself. So that gave me that introduction to commercial vehicles, and learning about fleet, because growing up you never really think about vans.
No, you don't think about it at all.
Consider, and it gave me an introduction into what's the word I'm looking for, like field sales. So everything I'd done before was on the phone. This was now out in front of clients,
going to customers, talking to them,
and travelling all over the place. So did really well there, and then my sales director had left to go to another company called AMT. He took me across with him and he left. So that was then moving into contract hire and leasing. So that then gave me an introduction into that side of things. So contract hire is obviously very different to rental.
Very different,
so did that. And then moved back into rental for a little bit before I moved back into a company called ARI Fleet, now called Holman. And they were purely asset finance. So they're a big American company, 8-9 billion turnover, huge business. Number 1 in the US, fast growing, nearly, I think they're close to being the number 1 in the UK now as well in terms of fleet management and asset finance. So that then gave me a market of not just looking at it from a leasing point of view, but looking at it from an asset finance point of view. And I was there for 4 years, again, did really well. So they had tiers at Holman. So you would do what was called COE, which was Circle of Excellence. And if you achieved 100% of target, Holman took you away every year. So it could be, we went to Arizona, we went to Aruba. Like, I can't tell you the story without it sounding exaggerated. Next level stuff, unbelievable. The amount of money they spent on it was incredible. And there was hundreds of people across the globe taken away, everything paid for. Incredible.
Basically taking care of their top people.
Looking after the top people. So, but COE, then you had Diamond, then you had Platinum. So I was really fortunate to be the first person to do Platinum. Myself and another gentleman called Derek Lynch, we were the first 2 people ever in the UK to do Platinum from the UK. So that was quite an accolade. And then what I found there was Holman were great, a phenomenal company, really looked after me, really taught me a lot. But I just felt that I was getting to the point where I was outgrowing it, without being arrogant, but I was just sick of working for someone else. So I got to the point where I was like, right, well, I know I can do this. I was earning some good money. I was putting some good numbers.
You're making a shitload of money for the company you're working for.
Aye, exactly. And we were getting a small percentage of that in a commission. And then the money we did make, the taxman's taking half of it every month, and so on and so forth. So you know it well. So we got to the point where I started having conversations about what if I did this myself. And did a bit of research, and I was about to do it a year before I did. And if I'm honest, I bottled it. The big salary, the car, the holidays, the paint.
What if it doesn't work? What if I can't get customers and clients?
Exactly that. So I spent, when I was going to do it, I didn't do it. So I then spent another year at Holman, and we just came back from...
But was the seed planted then?
The seed was planted, so I spent that next 12 months kind of researching, and what if I did it, and how would I do it, and what would it look like, and designing my logo, and all that kind of stuff. And then, as I say, we did COE again the next year. I did Diamond that year. Went to Aruba, and I said to myself, right, if I come back from Aruba feeling really motivated and really inspired, then
I'll just keep going.
I'll keep going. But I went away to Aruba and came back feeling, now's the time. And pressed the button just to resign, went off in 3 months garden leave, and then started my business. And that was in February, and I started my business at the end of the May.
Right.
And went live, and that's us 2.5 years trading now, and it's the best decision I've ever made.
So I want to go back to that. So you make the decision, you're going for it, you're excited, you're like, right, this is it, we're going to make this work. And as it all happens in most businesses, the minute you do that, you don't actually get the deals you think you're going to get, and you start to panic, and your bum's to go. Go and tell me that story. I like that story.
So I spoke to a couple of my big clients, right? 2, 3, maybe even 4 of my big clients that I worked with. Now, they were all panel
By the way,
funders.
there's water there if you want water.
I'm okay for now, thank you. But they're all panel funders, so they use multiple funders and they have multiple lines and all this kind of stuff. So I went in and spoke to them all and said, listen, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be myself. Now, bear in mind, I'm a one-man band at this point. We're dealing with 100 million, 150 million pound turnover business. They're like, yep, we'll support you, Gavin. We'll give you business, no problem at all. And I think 2.5 years in, we've just started doing business with some of those companies.
Because they're probably looking at you with just being on your own, the risk that they're going to have to take.
Not even that. Just sometimes it's just the opportunity needs to be right.
Right, okay, sure.
So we have to get things in. Obviously, in 2.5 years, I've developed a lot as well. So I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
From day one, I thought I knew asset finance.
Until you run your own business.
Until you get into it and you don't know asset finance.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot.
All the legalities there and
a lot of
you've got to be
red
FCPA registered or not, is that right?
Yep.
FCA, that's
FCA
it,
registered, and you need to have the compliances through the roof. You need to make sure every single box is ticked because you don't want to be liable for something further down the line. And then, obviously, just as I started, not long into it, then came all the commission disclosure piece, and that then opened up a huge can of worms and changed the way that everything's done nowadays. And funders come in and drop out, and new funders come in, and so yeah, it was a real learning curve, but. A lot of the business that I thought in my head, I was starting day one going, right, I've got that bank, that bank, that bank, that bank, and it didn't materialise that way at all. But in a way, I'm glad it worked that way, because if I'd have come in and it was all just there for me on a plate, I might have had a completely different. I might have got a wee bit too comfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas coming in day one and realising, do you know what, I need to graft for this. I need to make this work, and that's pretty much my roots. The reason I've always had success is because I'm always the one that's
never taking no for an answer. Just keep getting it, planning, preparing, making the calls. Oh, I feel you, man. I feel you. Because so when we started the business, I've never done training and development in my life. But I used to be a C-level exec, so I used to be a leader. But I'd never done training and development in my life. And all of a sudden, I'm going to set up a training and development company. When no experience. The first 2.5 years were horrendous. Because I went for, literally having a personal cash machine to both me and my wife gave up everything. And we were all in. And you think, oh, we'll do this and we'll do that. And they don't transpire. And then you don't really understand the business because I'd never done it before. So the learning curve that I went through, don't get me wrong, as you said, it was that learning curve that got me to where I'm at today. It was what went well, what didn't go so well, what can I do better? And that constant, I was lucky that way back early in my career, I had a leader, a manager, and he used to talk to me like that. So what went well this week, James? What didn't go so well? What are you going to do different next week? So he would tell me this thing over and over and over and over again until I started asking myself. And I took that same thing into business. Okay, so what, and that, I'm a big goal setter, right? And it's that mindset of self-reflection. How can I do it better? How can I be better for my customers and clients? What is it they need? What's their pain points? How can I make that journey easier? And that, I suppose, is really the groundwork, isn't it? Is that to get to where you are? Because 2.5 years is still quite young.
Yeah, we're still learning. And we're probably just in the infancy of the business. But we're growing year on year. We're doing really well. We've got bigger and bigger clients coming on every day. We've got organic business, like businesses coming to us now just purely through word of mouth and referrals. And we're busier than ever. So we just keep going, keep doing what we're doing. And as you say, the key thing for us is customer service. We want to make sure that customer experience is absolute top class. And when you look at our reviews, every single one of them, some of them mention us, me personally, it goes above and beyond. He does this, he does that. I'm working weekends, I'm working late at nights, I'm working.
That's what you want, innit? You want just somebody. I always think like this. I'm lucky that one of my best mates, he runs an asset finance company, Channel Finance.
All right, okay, right,
so Mike Savage, so he's one of my best mates, and I get this incredible first class service. So I've got this, it is just. But Mike is also, like, I interviewed Mike, I think 8 or 9 months ago, and it's funny how everybody say, because there's so many, we'll call it asset finance companies out there that don't provide a service that they say they're going to, right? And I think that's basically the lesson you learn is, I'm going to do this better. Because as a customer, I just want to feel like I'm being heard. You get what I need and you get why I need it. Like, just let me know.
Just
good, bad or ugly, just let me know.
But it's not even that. It's just about answering the phone. So what you'll find with a lot of companies is if it's bad news, they don't want to communicate it.
Yeah.
They only want to communicate good news.
Aye.
So see if you're just honest with people and say, listen, that's been declined, or that's not going to happen, or you need to do this.
Straight away to
tell them
let them know. Yeah.
It makes the conversation, it makes the experience so much easier for both parties.
And they'll trust you.
Yeah. But one of the other things I like to do is, obviously we're based in Glasgow, but I've got clients everywhere. So I jump in the car, I'll drive to London, I'll go meet someone face to face, specifically fleets, because I think that experience is more important, building a relationship with someone in person than just a cold email or a Teams call. I'm very much a people person in that front. So every client that we work with, fleet-wise, we go and see. Now, don't get me wrong, there's lots of opportunities that come through where it's just one person looking for one car.
On the phone,
we
job
can do
done.
that. Yeah, we can do that as well. We want to meet every single client that we do as well. So
is it fair to say that kind of asset finance around fleet and cars, it's quite a tough gig, isn't it?
Oh, it's brutal, yeah.
Because when you think, when I always used to think of asset finance, I always thought of commercial properties, buildings, business loans, all that thing. And then, because you never think of buying a car as asset finance. Like, you just don't.
Yep.
Because you're like, well, normally you're buying it for yourself and it's not through a business. But it's a different ballgame. And it's quite a tough gig. I'm led to believe it's a tough gig.
Yeah, it's very tough. Like, people will leave you for 0.1%, genuinely. And there's occasions where you could beat someone by 0.5%, but they'll still go elsewhere. And there's opportunities that come and you think it's done, and then it doesn't happen. And then the ones that you think aren't happening are the ones that happen. And it's the same as, I suppose, as any sales job. You're going to get people that just completely waste your time, and you go through the whole process and then nothing happens. So that's tough, because you can spend a lot of time and waste a lot of time on opportunities, and you don't always know, because you treat everyone the same.
Absolutely.
So you can't just
some big clients, you need to spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because you know the return on that investment, you gain them that time. I mean, because you've got some monstrous clients, and for conversation to getting a deal over the line can be 6 months, 7 months.
Yep.
I mean,
Easily.
easy.
Yep. Well, we've got a deal just now. It's £10 million facility. That's taken us probably nearly close to 18 months to go over the line.
Wow.
Just because of the size of it, the contracts, the various different people involved, and it just doesn't happen quickly. But I'll give you a key example, right? So we went in to see a client probably about 6 months ago, eight months ago maybe, 450 vehicle fleet. And we went in and sat down with them and said, listen, this is what we do. How can we help you? And they gave us the example of, we've used the same company for the last 20 years, and this company's like a stone's throw away from them, so that's the reason why we use them. Perfect. Can we quote? Yes. So they had a batch of 20 vehicles coming up. Let us quote. We went away and we were just under £100, £96 a month per vehicle cheaper, right? So in your head, you're looking at it going,
It's a done deal.
an absolute no-brainer. There is no, it's the like-for-like vehicles with an actual better spec.
That's what, £2,000 saving a month, basically.
Every single vehicle, yeah. And we could do it quickly. We could get it on place. The client was huge, so we could get them approved, no problem. Yep, all good. Happy with that, Gavin, no problem. Then all of a sudden the phone stops ringing. This is one of the ones where you know straight away, because the minute you phone them before that, they would answer straight away, or they would drop you a text saying, Gavin, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back, and they would call you back. But then all of a sudden the phone stops getting answered, the emails stop getting replied to, and you go, right, there's something wrong here. And what I know has happened there is, because they've used that same company for the last 20 years, they've took those quotes most likely and went, how is this guy
be able to do this
who's come in on day one, beating you, and they've went away and matched that, because they've not. And that's the key example of, just because you've done it that way, they've got too comfortable. They're just...
See, I would have been pissed off.
They're not giving you the best rate anymore.
I'd have been pissed off.
Yep.
I'd have been like, if they can do it, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
What are you? Because if you think, as you're saying, if they're a big company, think of how many vehicles they've probably got.
Yep. And that's the frustrating thing. So deals like that you think are absolute concrete, and you think, right, okay,
it's a no-brainer.
But it's a no-brainer. And for us, it's a huge deal. It's a huge fleet. It's a huge case study that we can then use to go into other big companies and so on and so forth. So it's not just the financial impact. It's the appearance. When we are a small company working with companies of that size,
Yep.
it opens up doors for huge companies.
In somebody's mind, it's less of a risk. Well, they're already working with them, so they've got to be good.
Yep.
They've got to be trustworthy. Whether we like it or not, that's the things that we think about, isn't it?
Yep.
Because I remember when we first moved from small micro businesses, so we were all B2B into larger companies. There's a lot of risk for the companies because they don't know who you are.
Yep.
Right? They don't. Like James Fleming for Glasgow, like a leadership company, I'm going to pay you to train my staff. I don't know who you are.
Yep.
But once you get a couple of the big boys under your belt,
It builds trust. Yep.
it builds trust. Because we can, we work with Redrow, we work with Barrett, we work with Fisty, we work with that one. They're like, really? Yeah. So now the big companies, I'm not going to say an easier sell, but it's an easier lift the phone.
Icebreaker. Yep.
Lift the phone.
Yep.
Aye. It's easy to get them to lift the phone.
And that's the thing for us. It's like we try and utilise that a lot. So we've some good clients who are happy for us to name drop. We have some good clients who we know they're not going to pick the phone up, but we can say we work with them.
Yep.
And if you want to speak to them, you're more than welcome to. And that always helps.
Yep.
And you only get that by giving them the best service possible.
Absolutely. I do exactly the same, by the way. I'll say to companies, if they're like, oh, I'm not really sure, I don't really see the value in it. And I'll say, listen, why don't you manage director of $1.2 billion company? Why don't you speak to him? We do all his sales and all his leadership and management training.
Yep.
And we've got clients that'll be like, aye, like senior. I'll go, I know worries, I'll take that call. I'll let them know.
Yep.
And that's brilliant to have that. Because I always look at it as like they're your cheerleaders.
Yep.
Right? They're your supporters. And that is brilliant to have. But that takes time.
Oh.
That takes time to build that up because 2.5 years is still. You're I would consider a fledgling yearly young business.
Yep.
But you obviously know that, you get it, you understand it, and you know that you're going to have to build that reputation first and foremost.
Yep, 100%. And we're doing a big push these days because naively I neglected it at the beginning. I wasn't asking everybody for reviews and things like that. It was more just about getting the business, and you've got a million things on when you're first starting. So
and you're just happy to get the deal across the line.
Get the deal done, get money in the bank so that I know I'm eating that month. So now we're obviously a bit more established.
Yep.
We've got that bit of security behind us. We can now start focusing on the areas where we can now take this to the next level.
Yep.
And that's where we're now starting to push, and we've got a couple of things coming out over the next couple of weeks which will then hopefully lead to more reviews and more positive results for us that generates more business organically without us having to pick the phone up ourselves.
I use Google reviews all the time with my clients. I'll say, listen, you get in front of your computer, go to Google and put in the power within training.
Yep.
And just read the top 5, 10, 15, or even random. Just read the reviews and then you can go back and you can. I never see this is a thing that I don't know. Probably a salesperson, right? It's not a great thing, but I never ever try and sell to anybody. Right? I'm really dead honest, and I just talk and I say, look, I think I can help you. Here's all the reasons why I think I can help you, but I don't need you to decide right now. I don't need you to decide right now. I want you to think about it. And what I'm going to do is, when you're available, I've got Wednesday or I've got Thursday. What suits you best? Right, let's book it in. Go away. I'm going to send you some information. Have a look at our YouTube because we've got hundreds of YouTube video testimonials. Have a read at the stuff I'm going to send you, and then we'll have a conversation. And for some reason, it builds trust.
Yep.
Because they're like, well, this guy isn't trying to push me down a route, and that's what I've found. And I say that to my sales team, like. And see when you've got a real salesperson, right? Like a salesperson, they're almost trained to get the deal over the line there and then.
Objection handling.
Yeah. They want it there and then.
Yep.
And I keep saying to them, no, it's not a biggie, particularly the larger client. That's not a biggie. Let's just foot off the gas.
And that's the thing, they can smell it a mile away. So if you walk in and you try to be too pushy, it just puts them off and that closes that door forever. So you need to be, it's a consultative approach. And
yes.
I learned this very early at Northgate. It was one of the things they drummed into us. It was sell the crunch, not the apple. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. So you're selling the solution rather than trying to sell the actual product itself. But then as you grow and you develop, you start to go, right, well, I don't need to sell. It's about finding their pain points. What's your issue? That's the solution. If you want to explore that, come and speak to us because we can do that. And then, as you say, you can then start to go, right, well, we've done it with this company, we've done it with that company, speak to them, see what you think, and then come and speak to us. But we've got to that point now where and again, touch wood here, I don't want to jinx it, but we've got enough positive experiences where it's just growing itself. We're not really having to push too much, and I'm still hitting the phones every day. I'm still out seeing clients every week, but we're in that point just now where it's almost
just ready to.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah, so we're already having conversations about hopefully growing next year, bringing in a couple of bodies to try and push. But I don't want to get to that point where we grow too quickly. I don't want to kind of
scary.
Yeah,
it's scary. We doubled in this. No, we haven't this year, but the last 4 years we've doubled in size every year. That's scary shit.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And you make some bad hiring decisions as well.
That's the thing for me. It's managing people. It's are people going to be doing the same level as what I can do? Are they going to look after?
By the way,
clients
like
the same?
we secret, they won't ever do what you're going to do.
Aye,
right? Like I learned that a long time ago. I used to look at people, like I'm going to go back to my past career, right? I used to look at people in my business or organisation, on my team, and I used to give them instructions. This is what I need you to do. Here's the plan, here's the vision, go execute it. And I would go and speak to them a week later and how's we getting on with that? And always an excuse. Right? And I used to think to myself, what is wrong with these people? Like what are they not getting? And then I realised, like, well, they're not me. Right, so just because my way of communicating what I need that might not necessarily be how they've taken the information, because they might be sitting going, why am I doing that? And this negative. So I learned that I used to actually say to them, right, okay, here's the plan. How do you think we're going to execute this? What do you think we should do next? And see, I would get them to tell me, and guess who owns it?
Yep.
They own it.
Yep.
And I learned that really, really early on, that nobody will ever, particularly in business, right? You're the business owner. Right, nobody will ever have the same passion for your business as you do. Like, it's never going to happen.
Well, that's the worry for me is I'm OCD beyond like anything you can imagine. So everything needs to be done when it's going to be done, and it needs to be done at the right level and the right way, and so on and so forth. So for me to then bring someone in and they don't work to that, that's what kind of stops me at the minute, if I'm honest, because I want the brand to be recognised as that's someone we can trust, and that's someone who says what they're going to do and does it, rather than I forgot to send that quote when I said I was going to do it, or I dropped the ball here. Or
that's why a good CRM's worth its weight in gold, because we've been through that pain point.
Yep.
We went through that, bringing on people, doing the things. So So your past experience working in big companies, you know how the business works, right?
Yep.
Then you run a company and it's a different ballgame.
Yep.
And then you've got to build your own systems and processes and way of doing work so that you build your reputation.
Yep.
And then you bring on people and you're just assuming that they're going to get it, they're going to know. And what we found was deals were slipping through because emails were coming in and they weren't being followed up properly. So when we built our CRM, it's actually a CRM called Zoho, but we've got it bespoke. We spent a shitload of money to bespoke it, and it literally, as a salesperson, can't F up.
Okay.
Because so their phone system's connected to the CRM. It records a call. It moves them to the next deal if they don't answer the phone. And our CRM basically send an email, send a text message, contact them on LinkedIn. So they've got to complete all the tick boxes before they can move. And that stopped us losing deals.
Right. Okay.
And it was just putting the right systems and processes in place, because honestly, even their best people, right, and this is what I've found, even my best people, they were expecting them to be us, right, and they're no, because they don't have they wouldn't have because you're a business owner. You this is your baby. Well, I like to say my baby, and people never have that. Even most employees, I'm not going to say nobody, but I've just never had anybody who has the same passion as I do for what we do.
And that's the key thing here is when you do it, you want to do it right, but you need to be careful that you don't make, because
if you want to grow, you're going to have to hire
a couple of bad hires, and it could kill your business. You know what I mean? So, but no, I've got a couple of people lined up hopefully for next year. 2 people that I know really well, 2 people that I trust with everything, 2 people that I know will go all out. But with that risk and with that trust comes a cost, because I've had that dilemma for a while of, do you go cheap and get someone in young and can develop, but you need to train them and teach them everything?
Everything.
Or do you bring in someone who's got that experience, that black book potentially, that can hit the ground running, but they're going to cost pretty penny to get that job done? So it's that catch-22 of what do we do? So I've been just slowly but kind of surely just ticking away in the background, doing what I'm doing and getting to a point where I go, right, I'm going to do that. And I think next year we're going to push the button on 2 people that I know I can trust. But the key thing for me is, having worked for all these big companies, having worked in large sales teams, there's so much lies that go on in salespeople. They tell you one thing and do the complete opposite, and you can spot it a mile away. See when you and it blows my mind sometimes how some of these guys get a job and how these guys are still in a job, because you can see it a mile away, but somehow the directors or the sales directors don't see it. So for me, that's the one thing I always want to make sure that, one, what I say I'm doing, I do, whether that be working for someone or...
So you don't damage your reputation? Or
I don't want to be just that guy that just says a lot of stuff and none of it happens. And 2, when someone comes into my business, I want to grow that culture. I don't want people lying just because they feel like they need to tick a box. Like, see working in big companies, I'm sure you'll be the same. We used to have KPIs coming out of our ears, and it was KPIs for the sake of KPIs. And all it did was create a culture sometimes of, you would just put things in just to tick that box.
Absolutely.
Whereas the micro...
half it was bullshit.
It's just tick the box just to keep your manager off your back. Whereas just let people go and do and trust. Give them that freedom, that autonomy to go and do what they want to do. And if they're going to do it, they'll flourish. And you'll be able to weed out the people that aren't good enough, or the ones that are telling you lies anyway. So that's the culture I want to grow here. It's not going to be a micro, it's going to be a big boy job. You come in, you do the job, you're left alone, you manage it as if it's your own.
Absolutely.
But if you do well, you're going to do really well. So that's the plan.
I
for next year.
always say, right, this is a thing that's always in my mind. Hire the best person you can afford to hire. Like, if you think, you know, my limit's about 35, can you go to 40? How different can you go to 45? How better a candidate? Because I'm not saying all the time, but I always think hire the best that I can afford. Somebody that maybe does have the skill sets that I don't have. They've got different skill sets. Whatever it is, I always try and just think, what's the best? Who's the best I can afford to hire, basically? Because as you know, as a small business, you can't normally afford to hire high salary people, so you've got to start back there. And then but what happens is your business grows a bit, and then you think, okay, right, we're in a better position, we can hire somebody a bit stronger, a bit better. Some people stay and grow with the company. A lot of them go, right? A lot of them go because they're the right person to take you to, you know, second stage of your business growth, but they're not the right people in the business to take you to the third and fourth. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, because you instinctively know this person's good,
but they're not in it for the long run.
Aye.
See, my worry as well is I don't want to bite off too much too quickly, because I'm doing well. I'm busier than ever. I'm working, like somebody told me, I quit a 9-to-5 to do a 24/7, and it's genuinely the truth.
Absolutely.
Like, genuinely the truth.
I work 7 days a week. And I've got 17 staff. And I'm 7 days a week. But see, the weekend, right? I always the weekend it's me time, right? But so I'm a big gym goer, right? So I got up Saturday and Sunday morning. I'm up in the gym at 7. Do our bits and pieces. I'm in the house 9:30, had breakfast, everything. 9:30, I'm sitting in the house. I've got a big home office. And I just go to work. I get so much done. Do you know how I get so much done? It's ticking all the crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's and looking back through the previous week and, you know, going through your client list and but me and my wife are both the same, because she's a co-founder, and that's what we do. We spend normally Saturday, unless we've got something on. I just don't see the point in going to the shops and doing all that shit when I can actually grow my business. But it is, you're right, sometimes it's... I see her sitting some nights to 7:30, 8 o'clock, a lot of the time.
Well, for me, Saturdays are good, or early mornings are good, because the phone's not ringing. Because what I find is, I'll come in on a Monday morning, say, and go, right, I've got 5 things to do today that I need to do. And before you even get to the first one, the phone rings and you've got something else to do. Then the phone rings again, or an email comes in. And before you know it, it's 3 o'clock, you haven't even touched the first thing on your list. Do you know what I mean? So it just grows and grows and grows and spirals and spirals. So coming into the office at 7, 8 in the morning, or working on a Saturday, or just doing a wee bit at night, it just, the phone's not ringing, the emails aren't coming in as much, so it gives you a chance to catch up, get a lot of things done, squirrel away all the bits you need to do. But there's a lot of bits that you don't even think about. See, when you first start a business, you think it's just go out and see clients, win business.
That's it, job done.
There's a billion other things that you need to do when you run a business. It's just things like your accountant and your
and they're worth the weight in gold. A good accountant, you need a good accountant for sure.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
know your certifications and your ICP stuff,
your compliance modules, and then there's all the social media piece, and there's all the marketing piece, and so trying to do all of it. It's
and by the way, I did do all of it. See, me and my wife, we did everything. We were marketing, graphic design, we did everything at the start.
Yep.
And then the business grows and you're like, okay, right, my graphics are actually, they're shite. Right?
You need to get someone.
You think they look good at the time, but and then you're like, I need to get somebody in that can and you hire a profit graphics person, and Erin, the girl we had, she's been with the company 4.5 years, nearly 5 years now, I think 5 years, 4.5 years, and we had as a graphic designer. But I gave her everything marketing. When she was just into the graphics, she had to learn
how to do all
everything. But don't get me wrong, we sent her and she did an MBA in marketing and all that, so we paid for it all for her. But she came in, and a lot of her initial mindset was, well, she's a graphic designer, what does she know about marketing? Now she's like, oh my God, I know so much stuff. Because she had to learn everything. Yep. And then we bring on somebody else, and then she's going to train them, and then now we've got a actually marketing manager, and it's that almost organic growth. You know, you get to a point and you know, right, I can't continue. I need to bring somebody else in.
Yep.
I need to bring somebody else in. Listen, what's next?
So next is, as I say, hopefully we get a couple of bodies in next year. Yeah. Well, not hopefully, it is in the pipeline when it happens. And then that then allows us to free up a wee bit more space, because at the minute I'm doing everything.
Yep.
So I can't really focus on the strategy of I want to focus on this certain area or this certain
You're still running about trying to grow that business.
I'm trying to do everything. Yeah. So by having a couple of bodies in, one that will be purely sales admin and one that's purely BDM, that'll allow me to pass a lot of stuff to the BDM. Like, you run with that, get that over the line. The sales admin will do all the back end stuff so that I'm not having to do all that. And that allows me to then go, right, because my background's corporate fleet. Yep. So I want to be going and speaking to fleets of 500 to 1,000 vehicles. Yep. I want to be putting...
You're putting the conversation in today for the deals that are going to happen in 18 months.
Yep. But by doing that myself, it doesn't pay the bills.
Yes.
I need that bread and butter business that keeps the lights on. So by having those, managing that side of things, it allows me to put the strategy in place to go, right, well, we've got that, and that. That's going to take 6 months, 12 months, 18, as you say. And then before you know it, you've got that steady pipeline of, I know this year I've got at least 2,000 vehicles coming in. I've got 500 vehicles from that client to whatever. Yeah. And that's then that steady pipeline of not only business, but cash flow, because you know that money's coming in every single week or every month. Whereas at the minute, we have an element of that, and we've got a lot of growth, but it's very reactive as well. Because it's just someone coming, I need a car today, or this person need a van today, or I need 5 vans, whatever. Yeah. So 1 month could be up here, and then the next month there's a lot of building, but not a lot of things closed. So before you know it, you're
welcome to business.
So it's very much like that. Now, thankfully, the last 6 months or so, I would say we're probably more up here than we are down here. But there was a few periods last year, for example, where we had a couple of months where we were down here with lots of business. But it was all taking time to close. It just wouldn't get to that fruition point. So that's when it starts to become really scary, because you're going, right, okay, if this continues...
I'm in soapy trouble here. I'm in real soapy bubbles.
But it also builds character. It builds strength, because...
Well, we talked about it offline, the resilience that it takes that people don't realise. I think that's probably why so many businesses fail, small businesses, is because... we go into something thinking that we know what it's like, and then we have, as you mentioned, those massive peaks and troughs, and a lot of people can't handle that.
Yep.
Right? They can't handle it, because there's days you're actually thinking to yourself, how am I going to put petrol in the car to get to this meeting? Like, how am I putting food on the table next week if I don't land a deal?
Yep.
You know, people don't tell you that, though.
It honestly is. It's sleepless nights and thinking 3 a.m, right, I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll do this, and then getting up the next day and none of it happens, because again, you've got 50 other things to do. So, but as you say, like, I think that's where it kind of separates the good from the bad, I suppose, because if you can just trust the process, believe in yourself and believe that it will happen, and that's the one thing that I've done throughout the 2.5 years is I know it'll get better because I'm putting the work in. It's impossible for me to keep putting this in and
keep
it not
the vision,
happen.
keep the focus, keep doing what you're doing. Okay, we're nearly right at the end of the podcast, and ask all my guests their top 3 pieces of advice in business or in life. So if maybe there's a young person or somebody's thinking of starting a business or just whatever, what would your top 3 pieces of advice be?
So I guess the first one would be you just believe in yourself. If you think you're good enough, you are good enough. So just go for it. Trust it. What's the worst that happens?
It's scary, but you've got to trust it.
You go for it. You start that business. It doesn't work. You won't get another job. Fine. In sales, the biggest thing for me is pipeline. You can't just rest on your laurels after you've won a couple of deals. You need to constantly be picking that phone up. You constantly try to generate
marketing,
new
great sales strategies for sure.
Yep, always exploring new opportunities. And then I guess the third one would be just be trustworthy. Do
what you say you're going to do.
Don't bullshit anybody. Don't lie. Don't say something just for the sake of saying it. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, tell them you're not going to do it, or you can't do it. Just be that guy that people know they can trust, because it goes so much further than anything else. If people know they can trust you,
absolutely,
you'll win so much more than people think. You're just good
in
at
the small business world, whether we like it or not. It is a tough gig for most businesses, and there's a lot of people who will overpromise and they will underdeliver, and that's just the world that we live in a lot of the time. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Doing the podcast for you, and so. How does people get in contact with you? Now, all your details will be in the podcast, they'll be in the YouTube, they'll be in Apple, all the podcast, Spotify. But how do they get in contact with you if somebody wants to know more?
Yeah, so a couple of ways. Obviously, you can just drop us a message on the website. All our contact details are on there, so you can pick the phone up, you can drop us an email, or you can leave us a message on the website.
What's the web address?
Web address is just www.kirkwoodassetfinance.co.uk.
There you go, simple.
Nice and simple. Do you know what? It's one of my biggest regrets. My biggest regret is not changing it to just KAF. So see when you're telling someone an email address and it's Gavin at Kirkwood Asset Finance.
So my company's called the Power Within Training and Development Limited, right? Yeah. And we've shortened it. So I bought the domain, the Power Within Training. I bought so many domains. And it's too long. Yep. So we changed ours to tpwtd.com.
Yep. So I think that's something for next year. I'm going to change it to just KAF, K-A-F, and just make it a wee bit easier when you're talking.
Because it is when you're getting your email address. So anyway, listen, as I do with all my guests, first of all, thank you for coming along. It's been an absolute cracking conversation. And I have a wee gift for you, which is the Success and Excuses book. So
lovely,
thank you. Copy that for you. And on that note, that's a wrap.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Brilliant.